nobody you know ever made it, without putting in the work.
Mm-hmm.
You might know somebody who's rich, but they didn't make it. Their grandfather gave them the money.
True.
But nobody who actually made it on some luck shit. I don't even talk, even the people that like Instagram, people are like, yo, what about Instagram? That dude did it for like a year and a half and made a billy.
Yeah.
You don't know Kevin Systrom then. That dude was in the game. That dude went to Stanford and fucking put in the work, networked, Google, like it was in the culture for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It's like artists. You know how it is, somebody pops and I was like, oh, like, yeah, I get it. Once in a while, Lil Yachty can do something in his dorm room and fucking pop quick. I get it. But people win the lottery too.
Sure.
Like there is people that win the lottery, but for the 99.9999% of us, like you got to put in the work. Everyone's like, oh, Gary V. I'm like, don't Gary V me. For my 20s, from 15 to 30, I didn't go anywhere on the weekends. Nowhere. Who did that? Who worked 18 hours a day for fucking 15 years like I did? Then who left college on Friday afternoon to take a bullshit Amtrak down and not even the Acela, stopping every which way on the East Coast,
right,
to then get into Jersey, Woodbridge train station, and then drive to the liquor store, work 2 hours, then go home, sleep for 6, and then work all day Sunday, and then wake up all day Saturday for 13 hours in that liquor store, then wake up Sunday, right, and go back to Boston to go back to school while everybody else was fucking hooking up, fucking having fun, living their college life.
Right,
so
right,
don't
right.
Gary me, you don't know me.
Sure.
I fucking worked every minute of my life.
Sure, but there's people out there, Gary, that don't necessarily subscribe to that, right? That
They're
don't
gonna lose.
necessarily think
They're gonna lose.
that's not the way.
I don't give a fuck about them. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose, and they're gonna rent their suits, and they're gonna have their champagne. And I want to remind everybody under 30, you haven't been punched in the mouth yet, because the economy's been real good for 9 straight years.
Right.
And I want to remind everybody, just because you put entrepreneur in your Instagram title, right? And you went and printed 8 t-shirts that came up with some word that is now your brand, doesn't mean you're a successful entrepreneur. I could put basketball player in my fucking bio. I play ball. Guess what? I don't get paid. There's a big difference between being an entrepreneur and being a successful entrepreneur.
There you go.
But isn't that putting that out in the universe and putting out what you want, manifesting it?
Look, I believe in optimism, right? But if you don't back your optimism or manifestation with fucking work and smarts, nothing is gonna, I can manifest that I wanna be the quarterback of the New York Jets, which I would love to be, but if I'm not 6'5", 6'4", and could throw a cannon arm and fucking threw 80,000 footballs between 9 and 18, I'm not gonna be the quarterback of the New York Jets.
Gary,
so,
I hate to break it to you, man.
Fuck.
Your football career's been over.
It's been over. You're right. And by the way, I hate to break it to everybody on Instagram right now that has entrepreneur and manifesting it, playing 2K for 3 hours a day and smoking blunts, your career's over too.
That part.
What about Fortnite?
Yeah, people
Game.
wasting their time playing Fortnite.
Yo, look, I'm watching all these athletes play Fortnite, and I'm wondering, man, if I was a fucking athlete right now, I'd be so happy, because all my homies are playing Fortnite for 8 hours a day, and I'd be in the gym, and I'd be fucking watching film, and I'm like, there are some dogs, right now, like real dogs, watching this Fortnite thing, and they're fired up, because they're quietly in a fucking cave right now, working out harder than ever, right? Quietly looking at film of the 16 teams they're gonna play this year, looking at the quarterback's tendencies.
Mamba mentality, Gary.
Ed Reed, Hall of Famer, right? He said something to me the other day. I was in LA last week for the ESPYs. We were just, shooting the shit. And he said that he knew what the team was gonna do, running or passing, because of one player on the team that he followed his whole career, by the way the guy stepped out of the huddle. That he would watch him, and if the guy put his right foot out to the right and had a hop, he knew they were throwing because he was hyped that he was gonna get a chance to get the ball. And if he went left foot inside, he knew it was a run because the receiver was checked out.
So he's reading it like a magician does almost.
Can you? That's
deep right
guys.
there, though.
That's some
He's
shit,
breaking
right?
it down.
And that's kind of
when you're obsessed.
And that's what I do. Everybody's out here doing whatever. Fine, cool. Last night in LA, I flew in, had a long day, and for an hour and a half in my bed before I go to sleep, I'm just reading comments on people's content. I'm not listening to Cardi B or World Star or Shiggy. I'm watching what people are saying about them, so I can get into the head of everybody who's listening right now to figure out what they think is fly, what they think is whack, what's an L, what's a W, and I'm just watching like a cobra in the grass. 100. I think that when people say, hey, let's do passive income, they go into like Spam City USA oftentimes. You know, I have passive income when I'm investing in early stage startups that then go sell for 400x and I didn't do anything. I made money. Shit, I made more money on my passive income probably than my hustle income. They both work, but please make sure that your passive income has practicality to it, because all the people that have tried to create systems and automate their cash, there's been a very small percentage of people that have been able to lay on the beach while they collect money on the internet. A lot of that stuff is completely ludicrous, and I promise you the ones in the 1% of passive income spent a boatload of hard work and hard time to get to that evergreen place up in the sky. And so, you know, I think that there's an enormous, massive misunderstanding that there are almost zero people that have pulled off substantial success without putting in real time and effort. Now, we all have different ambitions and goals. Do I think that it's easier to create $60,000 a year in passive income on the internet today? I sure do. And if that's what your goal and ambition is, that's more practical than millions. Millions of dollars in passive income on the internet, smoking weed in Jamaica while it just keeps coming in, is just not as real as you think, partner. You like that one? Right? Because that's what everybody thinks it is. Like, that's not real. Show me. Because I'll show you a billion people that like have won through hard work. Show me. Show me this magical person. Because I'll show you somebody who sells you that dream, but isn't actually doing it. That I'll show you. You want me to hire some models for the afternoon and get a boat and go to some sunny place and be like, this is it? I'll show you that. You want me to show you the people on Instagram who go take all the money they own in the world in $100 forms in the bank and throw it on a bed and take a picture and then put it back in their bank? I'll show you that. I'll show you the front of this passive income dream of the internet. Sorry.
I thought that started out a little too soft.
Is that right? You're happy that you're happy I picked up a little crescendo?
I have a question about passive income, and
Okay.
I want to know what kind of trends do you see for a person interested in that? I don't want to be stuck in an office 9 to 5 for the rest of my...
Well, passive income comes in two forms. 97% of the form is the douchiest, shittiest thing on earth, and 3% is the tried and true thing that has actually created passive income in the history of mankind. So let's find out which side you're on. How are you thinking about, when you say passive income, do you mean what do you mean?
I mean not having to work all day long. I want to be on a beach in Mexico instead of being on an office in Sweden in cold November.
Are you being serious right now?
Yes, I'm serious.
The quickest way to not be on a beach in Mexico is to think that passive income exists. It's a bad mindset. I really believe that. I think the reason so many scumbuckets are making so much money is because you're buying stupid fucking courses over and over, thinking there's some fucking magic formula for passive income. Passive income looks like this. You take money that you can afford to go to zero, and you put them into two places that have historically created passive income. Public markets, that you don't care if it goes up and down and you just wait to the end, or real estate, and you hope that your real estate area doesn't get crushed. Everything else almost doesn't exist.
I'm thinking more of real estate because I've been involved in it in Sweden.
Love it.
And for all the Danish people, it's pretty like the government is very restricting on creating a real estate business. It's a lot of taxes. It's really hard if you don't have the money in the beginning.
So shouldn't you work your face off to get money, not buy dumb shit like a watch and then put it into the real estate?
Yes, I should.
Okay. Look, you know, and I think you know, and I'm happy I can see your energy. I'm so passionate about this issue. There are people that are ripping people off at the level of hundreds of millions of dollars because they're selling this dream because they made a video with pretty girls in a beach in the background and are making people spend $1,000, $2,000. It's breaking my heart. Passive income doesn't exist, and anything that starts with I don't want to work is already a problem. What you need to do is I understand I don't want to work in an office or something I'm not passionate about. The best way to make money is to make less money than you're making now, enough to still live, because you gotta live, around something that does interest you because you wake up 8 years later and something good is actually happening. So it's not everybody wants to make it the extreme of, I'm sitting in my job, I hate it, this sucks, all the way to beach in Mexico, but there's a real in between, which is why I wrote Crush It, which is at night, when you're done with your shit job that is paying for the life that you have to live right now, you don't take some of that money and buy dumb shit like 17 beers watching the World Cup. What you do instead is you work on something on the internet that costs you nothing to start, save all those dollars, build something for yourself over 7 years, and then transition from the shit job to your own business. That's passive.
Okay, thank you.
You can live on 6 hours sleep. So you have 18 hours. You have 18 goddamn hours. I want to know what you're doing with your 18 hours. Because you can work your 9 to 5, and that's 9, and you can travel for an hour here and there. Respect. Nice little solid commute. Oh, you want to be a family man? Mazel tov. You can spend 2 hours with your kids. What are you doing with those other 5 hours? You're watching House of fucking Cards. You're playing Madden. You're relaxing from the other intense 10. Gary, I already spent 11 hours. Well, great. Then don't complain or want more. Respect that by getting rest and this and that, you were giving up opportunity to go into a new world. You want the audacity to have a 1% life. Let's call it what it is. You want to live as well as the 1 to 2% in the world. It's not very complicated. The math is very raw. Like if you want to have one of the best lives in the world, which is you live on your terms, you have to pay your dues to get there. And you have to be lucky enough to figure out that you had talent in the thing that you actually want to do. Because you can work 24 hours a day, and if you stink at golf, or you're not a good content producer, or your logos look like the shit I would make, then you're gonna lose. So that's what you gotta do. She or he has to love the game. For me, a purebred entrepreneur, she or he loves the journey, not the stuff. You know, one of the things I struggle with in the current state of entrepreneurship is a lot of people want the vacations, the watches, you know, even the context of this, you guys have such incredible imagery. I think it's remarkable. Who doesn't want fine things in life? Yeah. But I think that if you're in the game just for the fine things in life, for the bottles and the models and the private planes, I think you're gonna lose. And it definitely is not my definition of an entrepreneur. My definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who can't live without doing their thing and trying to create, literally suffocated.
When I was young though, I learned, because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, you work hard, you get a deal, you reward yourself, buy yourself a watch. What's your thoughts on that philosophy?
I think that worked for your DNA, and I respect that. You know, I don't think you get to judge what somebody does with the fruits of their labor. Yeah. For me, I think that that's what's amazing about anything, which is there's many different definitions. For you, you know, go out, work your face off, win, and reward yourself with something is exactly right. For me, the reward is pouring more of the dollars and energy into the company, not buying stuff for myself. It's one and the same. Yeah. It's one and the same. I don't judge, you know, I talk a lot about like, stop posting cash and Lamborghinis and private jets, not because I don't think one deserves it after they work hard, it's that so many of the people on Instagram that are posting that are fronting. 100%. I mean, they're like literally driving to a private plane pad, taking the photo and then driving home. They're full of shit. And so, to me, I think it's amazing if somebody wants to buy an Armani suit or a $5,000 pair of belt or a diamond ring for $100,000. I don't, but that doesn't mean that's right or wrong. What I'm doing with that same $100,000 instead of a ring is I'm hiring 2 more people because I'm trying to buy the jewelry company, not a piece of the jewelry. Stop crying and just keep hustling. Hustle is the most important word ever. And that's what you need to do. You need to work so hard. Guys, we're building businesses here. This isn't about parties. We're building businesses. I used to work in a liquor store from 7 in the morning to 10 at night for 7 straight years, and the only days off I took were to watch the New York Jets. And you know what that did? It made me throw up on myself, so that wasn't a vacation. I don't want to hear about this two-job thing, right? 9 to 5, I don't have time. If you want this, if you're miserable, or if you don't like it, or you want to do something else and you have a passion somewhere else, work 9 to 5, spend a couple hours with your family. 7 to 2 in the morning is plenty of time to do damage. But that's it. It's not gonna happen any other way. You're not gonna make stickers and give out swag and everybody's gonna give a shit about your site. I mean, you start building your equity and your brand and whatever you're trying to accomplish after hours. Everybody has time. Stop watching fucking Lost. That's a good overheard, right? That was a good overheard. So, you know what I mean? I mean, if you want this, if you want bling bling, if you want to buy the jets, if you want to do shit, work. That's how you get it. That's because I'm a marketer and a branding guy, not a salesman. But I'm also a salesman. Look at the earlier question I asked you. You said, what are you gonna do? I said, sell. I know how to sell, I know how to brand. The best way to sell in the world is not to run retargeting programs or affiliate marketing, it's build a fucking brand. Everybody, you think my man here is wearing those Nikes because they cookied him? Right? Like everybody here is everything they're wearing, everything, the underwear I'm fucking witness, what is it? Calvin Klein. It's fucking brand. It's fucking brand. It's all brand. That's exactly right. I don't want to ask people to buy my shit. I want to say I have a new sneaker out and people buy that shit. I have a new book out, of course. And here's the best part, and this is the most important fucking part in the entire game. When I ask for something, come see me speak, come buy my sneaker, come buy my book, I give away all this free shit, better than anyone. I think I'm at the top of the game. Free. If they don't, I understand. I have zero expectations to convert. Too many people are giving away shit for only, when you give with expectation, you're a piece of shit. You're not a good person. When you give and you have an expectation, you're a manipulator. You're not a giver. I give and have zero expectations. The chips will fall where they are. If it goes great, mazel tov. If not, I wasn't providing enough value. That's on me. I don't give. I'm not doing this interview for any other reason than I know that it's leverage for you and it's gonna put you on and you can use it for other shit that you wanna do. And you know how good that makes me feel? That's real life.
And I think that the cool thing about that is, from a systems point of view, that does not create resentment within you. Because if you were giving,
correct, and
you eliminate the source of negativity.
Brother, I have zero expectations of everybody. Right. I could give a fuck. I have zero expectations of my own employees. Many will argue with me in my own organization that one of my shortcomings is my lack of expectations. It's just the way I just have empathy. I'm just overly, to a fault, I would argue to a fault, empathetic. And I've brought it back to create more accountability and candor. But yeah, man, that's it. You're very smart to follow up what I said by that. That was a very good job by you. That's the right insight. You know why I'm always fucking happy? I don't fucking expect anything from people. Most of you are unhappy because you've got expectations of somebody, your mother, your friend, what you did at work, your boss, your homie. I got zero. When I lend somebody 20 bucks, I may pretend that shit's gone. I'm giving you 20 bucks.
Yeah, it's funny. I had one funny question here. I was debating whether to ask, and I'm gonna
fucking ask it.
Kind of ask it. I'm gonna put my 2 cents. But
yeah.
The question is, what was your payout from your dad's wine business to build this business? And my answer in my mind is like, dude, it's the work ethic, it's the grind, it's the integrity.
Financially, it was zero. Financially, it was zero. When VaynerMedia was started by me selling a client from Gillette an $80,000 program, and that was the money that was started. The payout was dick. I had 0% of the business. I didn't get a loan, nothing. I built that business for my family because my family brought me to America and raised me perfect. And so, nothing. The payout was $0. $0. That's why when people talk shit, I laugh. I competed against people that raised $1 million. Like people, you were given a liquor store. I sure wasn't. Like, come and fucking look at my fucking taxes. Come see me, motherfucker. I built my fucking parents' liquor store for them. Facts. Now come see me when you got an excuse that, oh, easy for you, Gary Vee. You got a $3 million liquor store. Dickface, go read the fucking articles. I started in a company that was doing $3 million making $300,000 in profit. I worked my dick off from 22 to 34, 15 hours a day to build a business for my parents that I left at 34 with nothing. Now tell me who had it worse. Dick?
There you go.
Yeah, there I go. And that's my thing, right? For years, I never clarified that. The reason I'm not mad at people for saying it is I didn't talk about it because, you know, it was a family business. I didn't know, like, I didn't want to put my family's business out there. But now I talk about it with fire because I'm just tired of your excuses. And fuck me, who gives a fuck what I accomplished? Don't look at me. Look at somebody who's fucking born in like the deep jungles of like whatever and comes to America and fucking eats you. My parents did it better than me. Fuck me, my parents came here with nothing. Lived in a studio at 23 years old with $100. Fucking, forget me. There's 50 million people that came from dick shit and fucking made it. So what the fuck's your excuse? Entitlement, you're fucking entitled. If you ever bought a $5 Starbucks coffee, you're fucking soft. If you ever in your life bought a $5 fucking coffee from Starbucks, you are fucking soft. Globally, in the 7.7 billion people, you're fucking fancy, you're soft. A $5 fucking cup of coffee? Fuck you. So I don't want to hear it from the people in my comments or people like behind my back. You live in fucking, you live in like 99% of my comments are from people in first world countries. Like fuck you. What? Your best friend's parents bought him a BMW and not you, you fucking soft piece of shit? I can't deal with it. It's fucking ridiculous. Right. People are, oh, you're mad at your homie because their parents, his parents, her parents paid for their Coachella trip, but you had to work to pay for yours? You went to Coachella. Like, what is the matter with you? In my keynotes, I always say, raise your hand if you're having your best year. People raise their hand, I'm like, you're the ones I'm most worried about. Notice how uncertainty got you to, oh shit, we should have a hedge. I'm most worried about everybody here who's doing the best because they're not thinking about hedge because it's working. That sales machine is feeding me. That company signed a 6-year deal, bless you. 6 years is like fucking 6 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm aware, like I see it every day. You know, what I'm good at is pattern recognition of business over the last 25 years, mine and others. I've done, bless you, small business, family business. I was in Silicon Valley. I did Madison Avenue for a reason. I knew nothing about corporations. I couldn't speak smartly 7 years ago about Nike and Adidas. Now I can tell you everything. Now I'm dangerous. Now I've got the blueprint across all entrepreneur, SMB, Silicon Valley tech, and Fortune 500. Now I understand everybody's strengths and weaknesses. Now I can start my career at 50. That's the plan. So when I talk about patience, I'm like, think about what I just said. And all the while, the most important thing that I want people to learn from me, didn't make money. Built a business for my dad, had no money. VaynerMedia, my brother, Steve Ross, not making any margin, not making money. Not making money, up to 50, I am. People are like, cool, how do you have a Hamptons house? How do you like, yes, I'm making money, but I'm leaving 90% of the economics on the table. And so cool, I'm talented, so I had bigger numbers, but like, it's still the thesis. So if you're not as talented as me, and you're making 50K when you were worth 400K, but if you follow my model, you're gonna make 4 million.
Man.
Now, you can get hit by a tree, you could die. Like, I understand, you can get divorced and lose half and like change your, like, there's nothing that's foolproof. But there are, I always use fitness because it's easier for people to grasp. Like, if you eat right and exercise, yeah, you could get cancer. You could, like, you know, you might have a body, like I don't have a body type for a chest. Dio does. Like there's certain things that are gonna happen. Like I'm putting in the work, but I'm not gonna have a nice, good chest. Dio does like one push-up and has a chest. You know, like, he's putting in real work, but there's body types, we all know it, right? Like some people starve themselves and still are chunky and big bone. But the reality is there is certain things that are black and white right. Learning, contexting, understanding. My biggest concern in this macro room is the economy's been good.
Yeah, me too.
The economy's been good for a decade, globally. You know, every market's a little different. Ukraine's a little different in London, the US, but like in the macro, the whole world has become full of shit and doesn't want to pay the piper. And that's gonna, like, we should absolutely, on merit, have a global depression because the whole world is full of shit.
Yeah.
And that could happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think a whole lot about, like, the biggest thing that keeps me safe is I'm willing to live in this room with my family. And that's cool. That's why I'm pushing everybody not to be fancy, because I know they're about to have to not be fancy. They're not gonna worry about fucking Yeezys and Supremes and gold watches. They're gonna be worried about fucking putting food on their table. Like, that gets real, like, that's a spectrum, boy. Like, go read the Roaring 20s. Go look at how everybody in the world lived in the 20s. You'll get real scared real fast. You'll get real scared real fast because you know how the 30s and 40s played out. We're headed, so I think about a lot of that shit.
I mean, I think that's keeping me up at night a little bit about next year. We're marching on to Brexit. Whatever your views on it are, there is a lot of uncertainty.
Yep.
I'm in a service business.
Yep.
That's why I'm trying to pivot very quickly into a products business. But even that's going to be impacted.
And let me tell you why I'm so heavy to push everybody here on building a personal brand. It is the best asset to have during a shitty time. Because you'll be able to get a job. like what will work for you by building an HR personal brand is, God forbid, when it all hits the fan, IBM still may hire you for 50 cents on the dollar of their last HR executive, but you'll be at the top of the list. Like if you really play a depression, immigrant, like doomsday model, like I do, like I'm like old school fucking Eastern European, like I have cash buried in the backyard shit. I do. Like my financial advisors get so mad at me. They're like, you're so right about so much. You could be making so much more money if you didn't take that, why don't you take that cat? You're publicly saying to invest in Netflix and Amazon, you're sitting on cash with no interest. If you would have put that into Amazon and Netflix, you'd have twice as much money. I'm like, yeah, but guess what? I slept really good at night because if the whole fucking world collapsed, I know I have $1 million in cash, which could be worth $38, but it's still gonna be better than zero or negative zero, which everybody else is gonna go to because everyone's over leveraged. Yeah. That's the vulnerability of a young kid that hit the right timing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna find any investor. You're not gonna be, the property you invested in that was prime goes to very low. God forbid you have any loans. Like, people don't get it. I not wanna talk about that shit.
And you are in control as well.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing is, that's why then money's one thing, because if all the money's worthless, there's that, it's mindset. It's like really getting to a place that you're okay in living a peasant life. I mean it.
Well, step by step, I mean, we were discussing yesterday when you told me you have investor, we built the business, we have no loan. Me and my partner.
Huge.
1994 we started, we are self-financed.
It's huge, it's huge. And the biggest thing that happens in CPGs in today's world, like the biggest reason I left VC Silicon Valley and push against it is everybody thinks that's the right thing to do. It's not that they don't even, it's not that they're like, they don't even know any different. Like there is no under 35-year-old in the world that thinks going to a bank for a loan is the move. Everybody over 50 thought that was the move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone's obsessed, aren't they, with raising money?
Slavery.
Yeah, and because they don't realize what's happening. Like Gavin will tell you, I was in Nourish, like you get kicked out of your own company.
Yeah.
People don't understand what actually happens.
What's your view on the, we've been looking at?
And I apologize real quick. And also what happens is you're building a company in a fake environment. You're losing money every month, but you think you're building something. Then something bad happens, you have to raise more capital, and it changes the cap table to you getting paid last.
Yeah.
And then your company sells, and you made no money. People are not smart. I don't know what to say. And so like, I have a communication style that penetrates, and so I'm trying to use it for good, like to help people, because you think I'm popular now, wait till shit hits the fan. I'm gonna be the most popular. Because the 10% that are alive are gonna be alive because they listened to me and did something completely different, and the 90% wish they listened to me.
You're going to be charging $100,000 for the...
Or $6 just to like, you know, like that's, you know? Yeah, or just to, that's how much the market is in a melted down world. But $6, you know, but guess what? $6 acts like $1 million because everything comes down together. And I think it's $12, not $6. you know? My great moment in my career will be the next economic downturn. Because, yeah, please.
I was just gonna ask, why are you using the agency model when the model is like such lower margins and?
Because I'm not building an agency. Because I'm building this for internal IP and then I'm gonna convert it inside out. So here's what's gonna happen. When the world melts, AT&T and BMW and Evian and Tesco are all gonna hire VaynerMedia. Because what's gonna happen is their marketing budget's gonna go from 100 million to 12. And they're gonna need that 12 to work really hard. And we're established as knowing how to do that. And the only reason people don't go with us now is because money's easy and they don't have to do the right work, so they can give the money to their buddy or the person that takes them to fucking the Manchester United game on the field. Got it? When they can't do that anymore, they're gonna give it all to us. I'm gonna get all that, so this machine that is stupid now gets really smart because we'll go from 280 to 590 in revenue in 24 months. It'll be profitable revenue because the world will melt and I'll be able to hire all the people from other agencies for 25 cents on the dollar. At the same time, a bunch of companies are gonna be over leveraged and are gonna go out of business, and I'm gonna be able to buy those businesses with the cash flow of the 590 at higher revenue. Then the economy's gonna turn back in 12 years and I'll be able to sell those businesses at the frothy end and buy the jets.
Yeah. What's happening after the Jets?
Yeah, you're creating
Super Bowls. You see what I'm doing? I'm playing the reverse game. So everybody thinks it's stupid now because they don't understand it's overvalued. Then it's gonna seem very smart. And then I'm able to show this video and be like, it wasn't an accident, which will only compound the smarts of it. And I'll be 62 and have 40 years to play, all on the equity of like pulling off $1 billion thing on smarts, not luck. On humility of eating shit for a decade in my prime, right? Like, kids are gonna watch these videos and be like, he was fucking 39, he was 42. Like, I'm 26, and he was patient, that's why it worked. I'm gonna do it. Nobody's ever seen anybody play it. We didn't get to watch Steve Jobs' first 9 years. And not that I'm that or this and that, it's just like we didn't get to see Bezos packing books. Do you know how powerful it would be right now? How many views do you think?
89.
How many views do you think if Jeff Bezos was doing a vlog, those first 50 episodes of him packing books in a fucking garage would have? 80 million? Maybe 14 billion? Right? Everybody would watch it. I mean, everybody. Yeah. How many people here work somewhere but really want to have their own business or hustle? Raise your hands. A lot. For me, the internet is for you. For me, if I sat down with these two dudes, the black shirt and the white shirt right in this third row, and they both raised their hands, for me, it's not about, if I was sitting down with you for 3 hours, it's not about coming up with a business that's gonna do 10 million bucks. It's about understanding how much money you make now working a job, what you spend your money on to live, and trying to figure out how quickly you can get into a place where you don't have to work in a job. One more time, how many hands work somewhere but want to do their own thing? Raise your hands. More than half this audience. Meanwhile, let me tell you why most of the hands that just went up will never get there. They buy dumb shit. Do you know how many people here literally drive cars to impress people that they fucking hate? People literally going in debt or getting further from leaving the job they don't like to do something that will make them happy because they have to buy a certain car that has a logo that impresses people that they fucking despise. Do you understand how fucked up that is? Do you know how many people here live in homes where they don't use more than half the rooms in the house? Like, we are so fundamentally in a vortex that makes no sense that I am unbelievably passionate understanding how much money you make and what you can do to get off of it. But the problem is, again, people are doing so many things to keep up with the Joneses, to make it look like they're successful, to appease their parents, and a million fucking other things that have nothing to do with themselves. And we need to change that fucking game. And thank you. And the internet is the most likely thing. The internet is a place where you can make $54,000 a year just talking about peanut butter. This is important, guys. This is super duper important what I'm talking about. The internet, unlike the real world, is a place where the long tail gets rewarded. The long tail. The reason I'm on this ridiculous, to many people, garage sale hustle thing is because the quickest way, by the way, because I knew I was gonna be here, do you know how crazy it is, especially in a market like this where eBay, because Amazon wasn't here, is even more mature and ahead? Do you understand how crazy it is that if you went to the clearance aisles of your 5 biggest retailers in Australia, bought things on clearance, went home, relisted it, and posted on eBay, that the far majority of this audience could make between $50,000 to $100,000 a year just on doing that for 9 to 10 hours a day? Meanwhile, everybody's sitting here with the next big app that's gonna be the next fucking Uber for lawnmowers. The thing that has made me successful far more than my passion or my energy is my disproportionate practicality. Most people want to look the part of an entrepreneur that came up with the next Supreme or Adidas brand or the next Uber or Facebook, yet are $40,000 in debt, working a job that they hate, and literally, if they went to the 5 discount stores that dominate this market, buy things on clearance, go home, take a picture with their fucking phone, and upload to eBay, and then when people buy it, go to the post office and ship it, they would be able to get out of debt and get into a financial place. But people don't want to do that because they don't want to be judged for that being their hustle. Most people in this room and this world would rather lose looking like they're doing something successful than win and be judged for doing something that seems dorky. It's fucking facts. And that leads me to the thing that I matter the most, which is why you are living your life based on other people's opinions. If I could punch every person's mom in the face in this audience, I would. It's scary to me how much pressure parents put on their kids and use them as products to look good to the other parents that they're spending their time on when it is not in the best interest of their kids' happiness. It's just a real broken system. It's really unfortunate. And I am the byproduct of parents that went the other way, which really allowed me to lean into the things I was passionate about, even though in the 90s in America, immigrant kids were supposed to get straight A's. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw my report card. That thing is fucking ugly. That is the reason I get to stand here today, because I had nothing, so I had adversity, because the quickest way not to win in life is have too much when you start. And 2, I was able to breathe. I am here, and I promise, if you really study me, all I'm doing, and it took me a little while to realize it, is all I'm doing is I'm trying to do to the world what my parents did to me. I feel such a level of guilt and gratitude, a mix of the two, of how I had it, that all I'm trying to do with my popularity or my attention is create the shield for you to point to. Do you know how happy it makes me how many people use my content to show to the person they're fighting with internally or subconsciously, to give them the air cover to do the thing they want to do? That makes me feel incredible. It's the great gift of my life that a lot of people use my content to give them permission to do the fucking thing that they want to do. And that is what drives me to fly across the whole world and keep doing it. That is unbelievably fulfilling. I'm gonna get mine. I have news for everybody. I got mine long before I got on stage and started doing stuff. I don't need to monetize my audience. There's no fucking product that I'm gonna try to make you buy for the next fucking 14 minutes. What I'm doing, what I'm doing is trying to be happy when I fly home in a couple of days and read the emails from people. And by the way, I get them every day. Every day I get emails that start with, I was $47,000 in debt a year ago, and now I've got a business doing 300,000. I don't know why it took me 4.5 years to finally do what you've been saying. And that's the thing, just so you understand what, why. I love when people are like, Gary V, like the comments are just so fun. Gary V, like, you suck, bro, you repeat the same shit. I'm like, cause it's right, dick face. The reason I keep repeating it, the reason I believe in it, is because I know for so many of you, even though you've seen it 87 times, this moment in real life at this time might be the time it happens. That's how it actually works. This is a game of perspective. Either you understand what's happening or not. Do you know how many people have defaulted into thinking this is a terrible time? My friends, this is the greatest time to be a human being in the history of Earth. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. This is like math. This is not my opinion. This is what's going on with genocide and health, life expectancy. Like, this is the best. Like, for all the fucking shit we have with racism and sexism and a lot of terror, we got plenty of shit. Meanwhile, they had the Black Plague. Meanwhile, they had World War fucking II. Meanwhile, they had real shit. And we sit around and complain about the dumbest shit in the world. People complain about like getting the wrong milk in their coffee from a barista. Or that your Wi-Fi is a little slower than normal, asshole. Like you're upset. You can feel the speed is a little lower. Or you got a few less likes than you're usually getting on a post. Like the stuff that we actually spend time on is fascinating to me. It is a complete and utter lack of perspective. And so I spend all my time trying to contextualize what's actually happening. And what's actually happening is the internet is finally mature enough that is at such a scale that literally every person in this room can win and not at the expense of anybody else in this room, because the long tail is that huge if they're willing to lean into things that most people aren't willing to lean into. Humility. Getting quiet in their head from everybody else's judgment. Patience as fuck. Patience as fuck. Nobody has ever built anything meaningful overnight. People have inherited money. You can win the lotto. It happens, but not for the 99.9%. And all of this is available to every person here if they're willing to figure out how they communicate to the world. And now the most important part. I laugh at you. You know why? Because a lot of you commented about this conference today during the day. Some of you complained that people came up here and sold, right? I am a weird fucking dude. I decided to look at everybody here who complained about people up here to sell, and I decided to audit their social media profiles, their Facebook pages and Twitter accounts. Let me tell you about all the people that complained that people came up here and sold. Every fucking post out of their mouth on their Facebook is selling shit. It's fucking funny. It's fucking hypocrisy at scale. People shitting on other people selling, yet every post out of their mouth is buy this. My favorite, one person here complaining has every post is come for my free assessment, which is their sales pitch. And so I highly recommend everybody here starts really becoming religious about empathy. You want to really win in life? Figure out what empathy is and practice it. And I have no idea how to teach it, but fucking get it into your skull. The reason I sell so well is because the only thing I think about is the audience. Not what's in it for me, what's in it for them. That will always work. The reason I have a good organization and culture is because I work for 900 people, not they work for me. The biggest mistake that many of you will make within an organization is when you go from doing to being a manager, you think you've made it and now people work for you. That's the beginning of you working for them. And so we are really in desperate need of perspective. And so what you may want to do is not actually strategize your Instagram post based on how many followers or likes you're gonna get, but maybe actually weirdly, maybe just one time, it would be a good idea to think what the few people that decided to follow you actually get out of you putting that picture up. Maybe that will work. You wanna build a fucking audience? It's not gonna be bullshit engagement groups or fake followers or all the other horseshit hacks that everybody wants to fucking figure out to have the perception of having 4,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 fans. It's actually putting in the work to create a meaningful community based on you actually bringing them value. How about that for a fucking strategy? And another thing while I'm on that, for so many people that are complaining that they don't have a big enough audience, how do you have the audacity to wish for more fans when you don't go into your own comments, when you only get 17 of them and reply to the people that are already part of your community. From 2007 to 2011, when nobody knew who the fuck I was, and Twitter was the platform of the day, I spent every day replying to every single tweet that made a mention of me, and used to go to sleep at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning until I completely got to everybody, and that's how I built my foundation. People want the glitz and the glamour and the caviar, but they're not willing to eat the shit. Period. If you don't understand how this actually plays out, there is no fucking shortcut. There's no hack, there's no tip, there's just the work. My favorite are the fitness influencers on Instagram. They figured it out in fitness. They eat well, they work out every day, they're so disciplined, yet for their business or their social media following, they're looking for the fucking shortcut. The shit they make fun of that people do in health, they're doing in social and in business. It's cliche, I see it every day. My friends, please understand what I'm about to tell you. Social media's golden era will go away. Just like search engines' golden era went away and email's golden era went away. Everything we're talking about right now is in the prime of its career. The prime, like an athlete or a supermodel, at the apex. Over the next decade or two, it will lose its throne. Most likely, in my opinion, to voice devices like Alexa and Google, which are gonna steal our attention because of the level of convenience it brings to our lives. But visual is always gonna play, and it will always have a place, just like email, not as good as it was in 1997, but still an outrageously effective way to sell and market even to this day. It's not like it's gonna die, it's just not gonna be as fucking awesome as it is right now. You're sitting here, if you're at this conference, you're paying attention to what I'm saying. Now my question is, are you really gonna allow me to make fun of you in 7 years for not doing anything about it?